Hey, where's the music, Scotty?
It's normally on one of them buttons right there.
How about that?
There we go.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Underhood Show presented by Hambelton Ford. Who's this guy sitting with me?
You know what? It's nice to be on. We have the two best looking dudes at this dealership.
Well, I thought the same thing. I'm
Yeah.
just kind of curious. Anyway, hey, it's Phil Nightingale, General Manager, Scotty Gurman, one of our top service advisors here at Hambelton Ford. And I'd love to hear from you here this morning. And it looks like we got a caller already coming through. That's exciting, too.
Goodness,
So
look at that.
we get that set up here. And let's see, the phone. Yeah, I'm going to have Josh here today, Scotty. What's the deal on that? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I mean, he told me yesterday, he was just kind of like, I don't really feel like doing the show with you. I don't know. You might have made him mad.
Well, Josh is out having some fun.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
Yeah, I hate to tell you. He's having some fun. Anyway, we're going to get John here. Let's get John on the phone here before we get things started. But, hey, it's a call-in show, 316-462-3673. That's the number that comes right into the front desk. And tell the girls you want to get patched into the podcast. We'll get you on here in a question. We've got a only show I know you get paid to call in on. And it's a package valued over $130, and we'll watch for John to get patched in here and get him on the phone and see what's on John's mind here this morning. But anyways, anything ailing your car, tires, brakes, batteries, anything in the whole automobile world, or want to talk about new products or whatever, might be something we want to talk about too. So got some chat lines coming up. We'll see if we can get John patched through here.
For what it's worth, everybody out there, Phil is like the most non-technical person on the face of the planet. It's actually really impressive whenever I get to see him actually set this stuff up. Yeah.
You are funny.
I try.
Anyway, good morning. Question: can you explain what an OEM sensor does on a Ford F-150 2015? I'm not sure what
OEM. Yeah,
original. Yeah. Okay, here we got John coming through. So let's get John. Morning, John.
Morning.
John, how are you? Results. Well, let's go through one thing. How many miles are on it? 130. Okay. Anyway, Scott, I don't know about you, but in your history with fixing these codes and stuff, I mean, it could be the sensor is not reading right to it because there's a sensor on the front of the converter and a sensor on the back of the converter that senses that to tell the computer is the converter doing its job from that part. And they're saying they can't hear the caller. So what did I do wrong on that part?
I don't know.
I don't know either. It says it's coming through.
Yeah.
Are you there?
We're here.
Sorry, the chat line came up and said that you can't hear you, and I'm not sure what I did wrong. We'll have to figure that out here in a second. So sorry, Greg. It's 2016 Nissan with a 06 Nissan with a catalytic. Yeah.
Yep.
2006 Nissan with a catalytic converter code. You've run some stuff to try to clean the cat. Like I said, there's a sensor on the front and the back of that converter to tell the computer that where the converter is doing what it needs to be doing to make the emissions coming out the tailpipe correctly. But in your experience, Scotty, have you ever found anything that would clean up a converter?
No,
I haven't either.
No. That would be something that we would call snake oil in my line of work. Generally, whenever you've got a catalyst efficiency code, it is exactly what Phil's saying. It's either one of two things. You either got sensors that are not reading, but normally when those sensors are not reading correctly, you would get an O2 sensor code as opposed to a catalyst efficiency code. So chances are you've got something that's going on in that cat that's not doing what it's supposed to do, unfortunately. But I mean, that's definitely something that we can definitely verify and make sure and check out if we need to.
Yeah. So John, what we want to do is we want to go ahead, John. Yeah, we want to put it onto your package. We're going to add a diagnostic to your package. We will check it out at no charge for you and make sure what it is, if it is the converter or something else too. But I'm going to say most likely it's going to be a converter. that needs to be replaced. And we'll get you some options on it because there's different options we can do on these converters now that aren't as expensive as they used to be from that part too. Especially on an 06, we can find some pretty cost-effective ways, I think, of replacing that converter for you also. So we'll add that to your package. I hope to God it's not the converter, but I'm afraid, John, it probably is going to need to be replaced. And from that start.
Do you know if that I was gonna Do you know if that converter comes right off the manifold or if that converter is back a ways?
I think it's back a ways.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I do.
If
Yeah,
bank one, bank two. So you luckily at that point you could probably get away with even cutting one out if you need to. Cutting one out and putting one in if you need to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We need to look at it, see what it is. And I think there's some, like I said, they've come up with some better, inexpensive ways of actually replacing those converters instead of having to replace the whole one, that kind of thing. And some different options out there from that part. So, John, all right. Well, I know we got your number on here. Scotty will call you after the and set up an appointment for you to get you in so we can take a look at it and see what's going on. Okay.
You got it. You bet, man. You bet.
All right. Hey, everybody. Hey, you too, buddy. Thanks for the call. Anyway, sorry you can't hear the callers out. The caller coming through. Got Gus, my IT guy, dialing in here real quick to check it out for us to see what we got. So we'll see what happens from that part. So sorry about that. Basically an 06 Nissan with a catalytic converter light coming on and setting that code. And I don't know, Scott, it's going to have to be a converter replaced.
I really think so too. You get into those kind of situations. And this is kind of a funny thing because I just had a very similar scenario just come in this last week. And it was one of those situations where you had a customer who was driving with a check engine light that was flashing.
Yep.
And I told him, I said, if it's flashing, don't drive it.
Yeah.
Get it in here. Get it to me.
I guess we forgot to tell John that too.
Yeah, we did. But hopefully he's still listening. But if you've ever got a check engine light and it's flashing, don't drive a car.
Stop it. Because you are doing some very detrimental damage.
Exactly.
To whatever components are failing or whatever, it's really bad.
Yeah.
At that point when it's flashing at you. And most likely what's happening is you've got a big misfire. Most of the time it's a misfire. And it's putting unburned fuel down in the exhaust. And guess what that's going to do? It's going to create a fire.
Yep, that's right. And that's exactly what happened. I told it was actually one of my fleet customers, and they just continue to drive it. And after I told them don't do that because you're going to cause more damage, it's just going to be more money. And it turned out that's exactly what it did. They burned up a catalytic converter, and it was a lot more expensive than what the misfire was actually for. So
yeah, exactly. So anyway, good morning, Jeff. Greg Gus is going to be dialing in the computer here backside here and fixing us up on the caller for whatever I didn't set up correctly. I'm going to blame it on Josh since he's not here.
100%.
Right. So for that part. So.
They normally blame that on me.
Well, I get it.
Okay,
Scotty, we had a caller right off the bat. So what's in that package? About over $130 for each and every caller calling in on the show today.
Most important, you got your oil change.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You've got your nitrogen for your tires.
Yep.
Most valuable thing in that package is a multi-point inspection.
It is. We can talk about that some here too.
100%. Gets you $10 at Mel's Diner.
Oh, and he's got some great stuff over there to eat and drink, doesn't he?
That's correct. And he does a great job. He makes everything every single day, which is actually very impressive.
Yep.
But then you also get a BG package as well. That includes a couple of additives to go with your oil and fuel. It's a pretty awesome little package we got over there.
It's the only show I know you get paid to call in on.
That's
so
right.
Gus is dialing in here right now. Hopefully it's the next caller we got coming up. 316-462-3673. Comes right in the front desk. Tell the girls you want to get patched in, and we'll get the phone set up here. Gus is dialing in here and playing around with some stuff here already. So anyway, sorry you couldn't hear that first caller, but we'll get that fixed here shortly and directly. So anyway, we got to go back to Jason's deal of the OEM sensor, and that stands for Original Equipment Manufacturer is what that stands for. And I will tell you, Jason, years ago, especially when I started in the parts business, when I had Don Davison and Halstead Auto Parts, working in his parts store, the aftermarket did a great job of having a little bit better quality parts and a little bit better price and stuff. But today, with everything that's changed in these vehicles for how they are and stuff like that, the aftermarket's really kind of fell behind a lot of keeping the quality and that sort of thing in the picture from that standpoint. But also we're dealing with a lot of different parts. I mean, when I was working in the parts business, we were selling water pumps, alternators, starters, that kind of thing. You don't sell that much anymore. It's not that kind of a thing. It's these sensors and all this kind of stuff. So what the aftermarket has to do to try to even compete is they got to make a sensor that fits maybe 4 or 5 cars.
Right.
And then how it works and back and forth. And I think we ran into that issue on a Mustang here just this week.
Really?
It had some aftermarket parts installed on it. It kept setting the check engine light. We couldn't get it off. And after we dialed it, we figured out it was an aftermarket part, changed the part out for original manufactured part. Guess what happened?
Yeah, fixed it.
So that's what the real issue here, Gus. I got a text, Gus.
Well, no, I mean, you make an excellent point. Whenever you get to a situation to where you're installing aftermarket, I actually do have to, tip my hat to Ford for the most part when it comes to parts as far as competitive pricing and things like that. MSRP for a Ford factory part and an aftermarket part anymore is so close. It's not as crazy as it used to be, at least in the recent history that I've had. And then whenever you have an OEM manufactured part, that part is made for that exact vehicle. When it's made for that exact vehicle, it's engineered for that vehicle, as opposed to, like you said, an aftermarket car. Whenever you've got an aftermarket part, that part is made for 6 different vehicles that it can fit on. And it doesn't really know which one it's on. So it can give you problems. It's not going to last as long. And a lot of the times it doesn't have as good of a warranty on it if you put it on there anyway.
That's the next thing, is that part of it too. So anyway, as we'll keep continuing down the chat line here real quick. Brian's got a question. What is Ford saying about the hard tops on the Broncos cracking? Well, what I will tell you, Brian, what happened there when they first come out with the 21 Broncos, the hard tops is what everybody kind of really wanted, and they had a supplier that had a really bad situation with those tops. So the first bunch of Broncos we got were soft tops, but the 2-door cannot come from the factory with a soft top, so it came with hard tops. So have we seen some cracking and stuff on those tops? Yes. And so far as I've known, Ford has stood up and taken care of those tops that have been cracking out on us and everything else too. So it's basically, it's not Ford that made that top, it's a supplier. And then I believe in the 22 model year, we finally switched to a good supplier that's actually making the tops better. So if you've got a 22 or 23, I don't think you're going to have an issue with a crack. You might have some early built 22 that had an issue from that part, but I do know Ford is standing up and taking care of those. Tops are not cheap and inexpensive to replace from that part. So hope that answers your questions and stuff. If you've got one cracked out or whatever, we can sure take a look at it. And basically what we have to take pictures of that top and send it to Ford and get it approved and all that kind of stuff. But so far I've not seen any issues with them not standing behind it and taking care of it. Unless, I guess, what it really bounces to is if it's been damaged or if it's been out of warranty too. If it's out of the time frame, I guess that's going to be another issue too.
Yeah, if you're under 3 years, 36,000 miles, it's really not that hard. Take pictures of it, especially if Ford knows that there's an issue going on with it. They're going to take care of it. It's awesome.
Yep, exactly. So anyway, I think someone's trying to call us, and that caller is.
Yep, it's Gus testing.
Okay, everybody. Gus is
Hi,
testing
Gus.
up. Can everybody tell us on the chat line, is Gus coming through?
Can everybody hear me?
We'll see here in just a second, Gus, if that's going to.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
See if they'll come
See if
through.
anybody on the chat will actually respond and see. It's like, hey, Gus.
So now we're trying to figure out, guess who we're going to blame for this fault. Is it you or is it Josh or who we're going to get? All good. They're saying you're coming through, Gus. So that's what we need to. We're going to blame it on Josh since he's not here, right?
100%.
All right. Sounds good to me, buddy.
Hey, Gus, thanks for dialing in and thanks for getting this fixed up, buddy.
My pleasure. At your service.
Have a good day, buddy.
If we ever get to blame anything on Josh, we're going to take full advantage of it.
Yeah. Anyway, that was Gus. He's our IT guy, and I tell you, he is a saint around here for what he does and keeps us going and everything else in this computer land world we live in and everything else. I hate to guess how many PCs we have in this place. It's over 300. I know that for sure.
Yep.
But just keeping our network up and running, keeping this going for us too and everything else too. So Gus, thanks for all you do for us. So anyway, hey, let's get the phones ringing out. The phone works 316-462-3673. We'll take your question, anything ailing your car, tires, brakes, batteries, anything in the automobile world. You want to talk about racing and talk about racing next Saturday, 17th, 9 to 4, Race Open House. Don't want to miss it. We got all kinds of vendors coming. We have all kinds of fun coming. But Monza, World Street Outlaws, is coming with his Chevelle.
Nice.
Now, what I'm going to try to get him convinced to do, everybody's probably seen some burnouts in front of the store with the yellow
100%.
Mustang and all different stuff.
God, I love working here.
Isn't it fun?
Oh, my God, it's so fun.
So I'm going to challenge Monza to a burnout contest with the yellow Mustangs.
No, really?
Yes, I am. I'm going to make – I somehow feel he might chicken out.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know. We'll have to find out. But for you racers out there, we got all kinds of great vendors coming. Can't wait to see all these vendors that are coming here to help you with your race season getting kicked off. I see if I can get Nick to give me an updated list because we've added a few more people to the list.
Oh, really?
That's coming. There they are. Updated list.
I don't think the letters on your phone is big enough.
Here we go.
I'm just saying.
Hey, Scott, have you ever heard my horse and buggy story?
I mean, probably 10 and 12 times.
Yeah. Sorry. I got my glasses on. Yes, I got extra big font here. So anyway, I text Nick to get us our updated list of all the sponsors that are coming. Jordan Whitehead will be here cooking lunch from 11 to 1. All kinds of great prizes are going to be given away. And, of course, also racers, there's going to be a ton of discounts and things going on all of our products and everything. But we'll get this list here up for me, and we'll rattle off all the sponsors and people that are coming. So you don't want to miss it. 9 to 4. We're going to have Roaring Entertainment on the service drive with the remote race cars to race them around from that part too.
That's a lot of fun too.
Anyway, and then Alex asked, any update on the USAC Silver Crown weekend? Well, it's still on track. I've been talking to USAC quite a bit. We're going basically the 19th, that Friday. The USAC guys the Silver Crown cars will practice. And then Saturday will be their show where they'll qualify, run their heat races, and have their features. And yes, we are working on a 100-lap feature. And that's all going to determine how we start prepping this track. And I have some announcements coming once we get through Tuesday with the Kansas State Fair Board and get the contract done. Then I'll have a bunch more of announcements out there to do. Until we get that contract done, I can't say any more than what I've said. There's a lot of misunderstanding out there in this world of what's going on at Hutch. Not sure why that has to be that way, but it is. But that's what people want to choose to do. That's okay. But there's a lot of misunderstandings. And the first thing, Alex, I'm going to tell you, listen to me, I am not looking for volunteers to work at that racetrack. I don't know how that got started, how that got put out there, whatever. No one is coming to my racetrack to work there for free. I promise you that. It's not how I work. So somebody got that started in the press somewhere. Someone took off at that and tried to make all kinds of stuff about it, but that's okay. But I am promising you, everybody, that I am not wanting any volunteers. If you decide you want to apply and we hire you, you will be paid to work at the racetrack at the Hutch track. So just all y'all know that from that part. And Delbert is here. So everybody, just so you know, Delbert was in an accident last night. And Delbert, I'm afraid that fusion is done. It's totaled from the pictures that I saw. But one thing for sure is you're okay. And from that part. So anyway, so Delbert, glad you're here and everything else too. So Alex, I hope that updates your question on that part. If you got any more questions or whatever, let me know. We'll got to handle that. But Tuesday afternoon will be the time when we get together with the Fair Board and get the contract done and stuff. And then we'll be kicking off more things we can do to kick off the races in Hutch from that part. So anyway, yep, Delbert, I guess you're okay. So that's the best part. He did that accident didn't look very good from that part, but I'm glad I think you're safe because the fusion protected you.
Right. There you go.
From that part. So, but the pictures did not look very good. So Delbert, I'm glad you're okay and glad everything's fine with that part too. So anyway, 316-462-3673. Let's get the phones ringing. I'd love to hear from you. Anything in the automobile world, anything ailing your car, tires, brakes, batteries, whatever it might be. And here shortly, hopefully Nick, one of those two guys will get me an updated list so I can go through the vendors that are going to be here at the race open house from that part. So if we get that here soon. So Scotty.
Yes, sir.
I always do this to Josh, kind of call him on the carpet and everything else too. But what's something happened this week in the service department that we can tell our callers that you saw, did, or whatever that can help somebody, or something that could have been prevented, something that could have saved some people some money from that part? You did bring up the multi-point inspection, which I want to kind of attack that a little bit too, because I think a lot of people think that multi-point inspection is just something for us to sell them something, and that's one thing. We're not here to sell you anything that you don't need. We're here to sell you what you need to protect your car. So give me your version of the multi-point inspection. I have mine, and the people have heard my version of it.
I was getting ready to say, I don't know about you, but I mean, I know Josh works really hard, but I work 10 times harder than Josh.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. Yeah. We can stack all the stuff we want on because he's not here today.
He's not here. But no, that's the most valuable thing that we do here at Mel Hambelton Ford. Looking at a vehicle free of charge for a customer to let them know. I mean, we're not trying to sell you anything. whenever we do that multi-point inspection. We are trying to help you out, let you know something, and try to give you as much of a heads up as we possibly can. And if we do see something that needs to be an immediate attention item, that can save you in the long run, the longer that you don't drive with that immediate attention issue. But I had a vehicle that had never been here before over this last week. And it came in for an oil change. That's all it was. Sent it down to Quick Lane. They did the multi-point inspection, and believe it or not, they ended up finding out that they had 3 different tire sizes on the car.
No, that's not good.
No, that's not good at all. It was an all-wheel drive vehicle as well, with 3 different tire
okay, so let's
sizes.
Go back.
Yeah.
Now let's explain to people, especially on an all-wheel drive car with 3 different size of tires on that car, what that's going to do.
Yeah, that PTU is leaking.
Okay, what's the P? You and I know what a PTU is.
I know, but power transfer unit, that's basically the external transfer case of vehicles that have those. But basically what that means is when that vehicle is driving, all of the wheels are always turning. They're always rotating. They're all-wheel drive. Whenever you have different size tires, if they do not have the same overall circumference, that means they're all going to be spinning at a different rate of speed, which then in part can cause some major damage to specific parts on that car that make it roll, for lack of a better word.
So basically all the wheels are spinning a different way, and that basically the PTU, which is like your transfer case, is really binding really bad. But this one was leaking, so we know it's toast.
Oh, it's toast. It was overheating.
Yeah, that's what made it leaking. It was just getting hot and hot. So that's even the same difference. Even if you were replacing tires years ago, we could put on 2 tires and go, but on an all-wheel drive car,
right,
can't happen. You got to keep all 4 tires the same, and that's what's kind of hurts somebody sometime too. You get an all-wheel drive car and you get a nail in the sidewall, and you got a halfway down tread tire. Guess what? And that one nail in one sidewall cost you 4 tires.
That's right.
From that part, I had a deal just like that years ago with a Jeep, and they kept tearing out different differentials in the transfer case, and nobody would look at it. They brought it to me, and guess what I found? 2 sizes on the front bigger than were on the back. That they had put all these parts in there and kept breaking it because they didn't fix that tire situation of running it, which, again, back into that multi-point inspection, I love that thing for the keeping track of your tread wear of your tires, keeping track of the brake wear on your tires and all that on your brakes, so you know to plan for that. I mean, it's kind of like when Josh brings me a used car inspection now, and I look at Josh and I see the price of those tires. I said, Josh, I just need 4. I don't need 8.
Yeah.
But that's how much tires have went up too, from that part of what's happened to the cost of everything.
Right. Everything. And the other thing that I really love whenever we're talking about just doing an oil change on your car, our oil changes come with a tire rotation. So we get to look at those brakes, which is a safety component on the car. And a lot of people, I mean, it's absolutely amazing how long brakes last on these vehicles anymore. I'll get a customer come in and just be like, I haven't replaced these brakes, and I've got 80,000 miles on this vehicle. And they come in, we do an oil change, we check the brakes. The brakes still have 6 millimeters left on them. You know what I mean? I mean,
yeah,
the materials and things like that are getting so much better. Technology is getting so much better. But the fact that we get to check these things and just to let you know, hey, don't worry about it, Phil. You're okay. You don't have to worry about this. We're in good shape.
We're going to take care of it for you, right?
Exactly. So that's a really big benefit to a customer that comes in to Mel Hambelton Ford, because we really do give a damn, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But so just always ask for that multi-point. The other thing, when we come in, we're going to check your battery. And I love the way we check batteries today. And guess what? We got a caller coming up on the line. I'm not sure we want to let him in or not, but I guess we're going to let him in. Oh, darn.
Jordan, you're live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
Scotty and the double ham sandwich. How we doing today?
How we doing?
Perfect. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm just living life, man. Living it.
Good. Perfect. So what are you doing today?
Nothing. I'm driving. I've got to cater for a birthday party, for a 2-year-old's birthday party. So I got to go get a bunch of soft food.
Are you getting paid extra to babysit?
Yeah, we're not, but we cater elderly people and babies the same way. Soft food. That's the secret.
Nice.
2-year-old birthday party. That ought to be fun. And you got your earplugs ready?
I do. Yes.
All right. Well, anyway, Jordan, I know you're going to be cooking for us next Saturday for the race open house. Excited for that. 11 to 1. You'll be ready to go with everybody too, right?
Oh yeah, we can't wait. That deal gets bigger and bigger and bigger every year. It's unbelievable what you guys have grown that into. Unbelievable.
Yep, I've got a list of the sponsors just emailed to me too of who's all coming. So we'll get that hit here in just a little bit of everybody, so the racers can hear who they got coming, who they can come here and talk to in person about race products and their parts and things they go on their race cars. It's gonna be a fun time, that's for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what I got. I got a question, just a general car question I've wanted to know, and I thought about Googling it this week, but I'm like, no, I'm going to wait and I'm going to call Phil on his show on Saturday, because I feel like a lot of people have asked this question before. I feel like I'm not the only one.
All right, let's have it, Jordan.
So I just need your knowledge, your general automotive knowledge, kind of like Miss Vito. That's where your knowledge will be applicable.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, so serious question. I drive a 4-wheel drive truck. I use that 4-wheel drive when I get in the mud, I get in the snow, or I get in trouble. You put it in 4-wheel drive, you get out of trouble, you take it out of 4-wheel drive. That is what the 4-wheel drive is for. Obviously, if you leave it in 4-wheel drive and you try to drive it around, it won't turn corners worth a darn. It doesn't drive right, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You can tell it's in 4-wheel drive. Like, oh man, I forgot to take it out of 4-wheel drive. This vehicle is in 4-wheel drive.
Yes.
Why does an all-wheel drive vehicle not react the same way?
That's actually a good question.
Pretty good question there, Jordan.
Yeah.
So basically on a 4-wheel drive transfer case truck, that you either push the button or put the lever or whatever to get it in 4-wheel drive, that locks the front drive axle to the axles, and the front wheels turn a little bit faster than the rear tires when you do that, to help you steer the truck when you turn it and that kind of thing. So that's why when you get on dry pavement, you feel what I call the wind up or the bind up when you start to turn from that part.
Bind up, good word. Yeah, it binds up.
Binds up. So now in an all-wheel drive situation, inside that transfer case or the PTU that we talked about earlier has a clutch in it. So as you do start turning those corners and stuff like that, that clutch lets it slip and doesn't get that bind up into the drivetrain as you turn or whatever from that part. That's also why an all-wheel drive car can drive on dry pavement all the time, and a 4-wheel drive truck cannot, because you're going to do the same thing by putting wrong size tires on something. Those front tires are trying to turn, but if you're on dry pavement, eventually that bind up, even going straight, is going to transfer into somewhere, and it's going to find the weakest link of that drivetrain and break. And I've seen everything from axles broke, transfer cases cracked in half, drive shafts twisted in half, all kinds of stuff when you take a 4-wheel drive truck and run it down the highway. But that's also now on 4-wheel drive trucks. They've got some with the trucks that have the 4A or 4 Auto, and that lets basically that transfer case has got a clutch in it too, and lets you drive on semi snow packed or ice and then dry, like some of the highways get. And you can put it in 4 Auto, and it'll engage the front wheels as it's needed.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Well, that's good. Yep, that answers my question. Like I said, I've wondered that before, and I thought about that this week, and I'm like, I'm sure it's a simple Google answer away, but I'd rather call into the show, because surely I'm not the only one that's asked that question before. But interesting. So yeah, basically it's got a clutch. It lets it slip and move, and it doesn't bind up. Very interesting. That's good to know.
Jordan, one thing is always for sure. If you have the option between Google and Phil Nightingale, 100% of the time, it needs to always be Phil Nightingale. 100% of the time.
How about that, Jordan?
Yeah. Because you can
I would have.
You can look up something on Google and it'll tell you exactly what you want to hear. Phil will give it to you straight up, and he won't jerk a chain.
Well, I promise you that too.
I'll keep that in mind, unless it's something I don't want Phil to know what I'm Googling type deal.
Correct.
We'll leave that at that.
And I'm going to say, just make sure when you do Google anything you do, Jordan, just don't have that Bluetooth. Just do not have the Bluetooth hooked up.
You're gonna say.
You knew exactly what I was going to say, didn't you? Everybody listening out there, anytime you see Jordan Whitehead, just see if he's got his cord through his phone and he doesn't have it Bluetooth. You just got to ask Jordan why that is.
I gave Bluetooth up for Lent.
I bet you did too. So next time you see Jordan, or if you come to the race open house and you see him running around here cooking the food for us and stuff and feeding you while you're here, ask him. Just ask him. And I want to be there and see what he answers to the question.
Oh my gosh. Well, I hate you, Phil.
No, you
All
don't.
right. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
You guys have a good Saturday. We'll
Hey,
see you
you too.
next Saturday, bud.
You
I-
too, buddy. You take care.
See you, Jordan.
Bye.
All right, 316-462-3673. Let's get the phones ringing. Love to hear from you. Okay, I've got the list of vendors that are coming to the Race Open House next Saturday, 9 to 4. Turo Tires. They've been here before. This is another brand of tire we have. They really feature tires that are in a bigger size for your trucks. They've got a couple drag slicks in some areas of that Hoosier doesn't have, which is pretty cool. They got some inexpensive tires to put on trailers, that kind of stuff. So come see the Turo guy if you're looking for a.
Real quick, all I wanted to say is I put a Turos on my brother's Jeep, and he's got a rock crawler Jeep.
Oh, yeah.
He said those are by far the best tires he's ever put on that Jeep, and they're very large, but
Very large and
they're aggressive.
very aggressive.
But he loves them. So excellent job. Thank you very much to a Turo Tire. I appreciate all the help you guys helped with me.
All right, new vendor for this year's All-Star Performance. And I know you racers do this. There's a lot of parts we use with All-Star. They're going to have people here to talk to you about all their products and stuff. Where's Machine, another new vendor that hasn't been here before. Where's Machine, again, another vendor that we use and sell a lot of their race parts on your race cars. Schaefer's Oil, they've been here before. So they talk to you all about the Schaefer's Oil products they have. Aeromotive. All the fuel products, they've been here before. Pentronics has been here before. Renegade Fuels will be here. So if you want to talk about race fuels or whatever it might be. Mad Drag Strip's going to be here. Flying H Drag Strip will be here. And of course, we talked about Mons and his Chevelle, and I'm going to challenge him to that burnout on the front of the store. Don't think I'm going to get that done, but I'm sure going to try. Dodge City and URSS is coming, and also Salina Speedway will be here. RPM Speedway will be here. Bar to Bar will be here with motorcycles and their schedules. Racing Dirt and their new modified series. I can't remember what that's called, RHM or something
Why
like
are you
that.
looking at me? I don't
thought
know.
you knew.
Heck no.
Come on, man. You're a racer, aren't you?
No.
So anyway, Trenton and Eric will be here from there to talk to you about their series and stuff. Bees Motor Lab will be here. So if you guys got questions on your motorcycles and stuff, he does a great job with suspensions and stuff. Casey Joe will be here with Advocare. In this mug right here is some Advocare. I drink it every day. It's stuff and I drink it all the time at the racetrack. It helps you keep yourself energized and rejuvenated for when you're sweating everything out. Big Corner Crave will be here. Westhold will be here, and also BG Products. So, and then also the Mel Hambelton Auto Spa, they'll have a display set up of showing you all the different things we do in the detail shop, from PPF to paint correction, polishing, details, whatever it might be that we can help you with on that part too. So lots of lists, lots of things coming for the Race Open House. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a blast and a lot of fun and a lot of things to get given away, but mainly racers, lots of discounts. Lots of discounts. So get yourself ready and geared up for race season, and let's make it happen. So anyway, 316-462-3673. Scott had called you in a carpet once. You talked about that all-wheel drive and
Yes,
stuff.
sir.
What else? Anything else happened this week?
100%. Yeah. Oh, dude, I have a list.
Okay, I figured you did.
I told you I work harder than Josh.
I get it. I get it.
Sure you know.
Especially right now.
Yeah,
because he isn't working.
He isn't. But no, this is actually probably my favorite part of the year, because it is now starting to get a little bit warmer outside. So guess what? People are turning on now that they haven't been turning on for the last couple of months. Your air conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're turning your air conditioning on when you get in the car because it's a little bit warmer outside. And guess what? It's not blowing cold.
Right.
And pretty much 90% of the time that I've had this particular situation, I've got a lot of folks that have some kind of a leak in that cooling system. And that ends up being the cause. I could say cooling, the air conditioning system.
Right.
And that's been probably 90% of the time. And all you got to do is have it checked, especially when you're going into the warmer parts of the year, charging that AC system up. If you have not done that, doing an AC service, it's pretty important as well, so you don't get stuck in that situation.
Well, Scotty, what I want everybody to realize too is your AC system. Years ago, we didn't really service them,
Right.
Because they would leak enough that we'd put enough Freon in it and stuff from that point. Today, these systems are very small. Back in my day, it wasn't nothing to put 5 pounds of Freon in a car.
Mhm.
Today, you got cars taking less than a pound.
Mhm.
But still, they have a lubricant that flows through that system to lubricate the compressor and everything else too. But they've done such a good job these days of sealing this compressors up tighter. The connections are tighter, all that kind of thing. So we don't see the leaks like we used to see.
Correct.
So if you don't keep servicing it just like you service your engine, you're just going to detrimentally wear out that compressor.
Right.
So I always tell everybody service it once a year. And we have the thing about putting the Freon back in is putting back the exact amount. Back in my day, that 4 or 5 pounds, you could overcharge it a half a pound or undercharge it a half a pound, and it would still blow cold because there's so much Freon.
Right.
Today, if you're off a 1/10 of a pound, system's going to be inactive.
Yeah,
working.
it's doing weird stuff at that point.
So you got to have the right equipment to put that exact amount of Freon in it. And these deals today of going to the parts store and buying a can of Freon and sticking on the hose and sticking it in there and pushing it in there doesn't work no more, does it?
Nope.
Now we got the next thing is you could really mess up a system because right now there's 2 different Freons running around.
Yes, that's correct.
And so you got to know which Freon you have and everything else too. But basically, when we service an AC system, we're going to take and basically take out all the Freon. So then we know if it's got a little bit of a leak or somewhere, right?
Yep.
And we're going to put it into a vacuum and then see if it holds that vacuum. But again, the amount of Freon we take out is going to tell if we have. But one thing that's also detrimental to AC systems is not just the oil that's running through there. What's detrimental to an AC system is,
oh, you're getting me now.
getting you? Humidity, condensation, water.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry. That's me being dumb.
That's okay.
That's fine.
But anyway, when we put that vacuum on it, we're going to suck. If there is any humidity in there or any condensation or any whatsoever, we're going to vacuum that out of there. And then we're going to see if it holds because there's AC systems can leak on a pressure side and a suction side. So we're going to do that, make sure what you can hold a vacuum. And if it does, then we're going to charge it back up. And this is the crucial part is the scales that we have to measure that Freon that goes back in is what's crucial. You've got to know the length of the hoses and everything else like that. So they know exactly how much Freon goes into that car. And you got to have a very, very accurate scale. That comes with the right equipment. And from that part, because if you take a car that takes a pound and you put 9/10 in it, or you put 1.1 in it, you're detrimental either way.
Yeah, that's right.
So service your AC system once a year is what I feel like you should do. The other thing, well, I guess the other thing I left off, we're going to top it off with a little bit of oil from BG, but also it's going to be in that oil is some dye.
There you go.
Because I do promise. Yeah,
I was waiting for you to finish.
Waiting for that one.
Yep.
Because I do promise you, at some point in time in that AC system, it is going to develop a leak. Who knows when? But they are so much better than they were years ago.
Yeah.
From that part. But you will develop a leak at some point in time. Just don't know when. Don't know when. So that dye will help us find that leak very easily compared to what used to. Years ago, we had these sniffers and all that stuff. And if you didn't hit it just right and everything else like that, you couldn't find a leak.
Oh, yeah. They were bad.
It was terrible how you find those leaks and stuff now. But
I did have a nightmare over this last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had a customer that was in a bind and went to the local parts store and bought one of those. I don't even know. They're a kit that you just hook up to it and charged it, and they put way too much in, and it was not good.
That's not good either. Putting too much is way even more detrimental because basically you're just building what we call head pressure, and you're building a ton of pressure, and you're hurting everything in that system with high pressure that happens.
You want to guess what failed?
I'm going to have to say probably what the first thing that failed was probably, I'm going to say the seal on the compressor.
Yep. Nailed it.
Front seal.
Yep. You nailed it.
Got lucky because it could have been a hose. It really could have exploded.
Yeah, that could have been bad.
But again, it's going to go find the weakest point. So in that particular situation, it found the front seal.
Yep.
That got out of that did that. So please today, these AC systems you have today, don't go to the parts store and grab you a can of Freon with their special little hose they got attached to it and screw it on there and try to push that Freon in there because you might get lucky. Who knows? But the chances of getting lucky, slim and none.
It's just it's you may get lucky or you may cost yourself more dollars.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know if the reward is worth the risk, but that's me.
Yeah. It goes back to that one deal, pay me now or pay me later. But
That's
again, spend a little bit more money to protect that system because when a compressor does go out, and if it does, shell where the metal goes through that system, now you're spending thousands of dollars to clean it up, get all the metal shavings out of it. Because what you don't want to do is put another compressor on without cleaning it, and then all of a sudden those metal shavings that's been scattered through the system enters right back into that new compressor, and guess what it does to it? Eats it right up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So if you lose one, it's a detrimental deal. So that's why I say service it once a year, add a little bit of oil to it to make sure that lubricant's going through the system. But the other thing is when the system gets a little bit low, it can't pick the oil up and circulate it through the system like it needs to. So that's why yearly service, very cheap, inexpensive service compared to a compressor replacement.
100%.
On that part. So anyway, Scotty, what else we got on our agenda? We might have to have a little short show here this morning, but Josh is out playing. I hate to tell you where he's at.
I don't even know. I don't care, Phil. I love doing the show with you because I'm not with Josh.
Well, he's getting roasted today. Of
Good.
course, he should get roasted for where he's at and what he's doing.
But no, I did have a question, especially since we got a lot of time. I'm really excited. So, do you have any really good stories of like craziest things that you've seen happen to a car? I will never forget mine.
All right.
Whenever this was the first like 2 years I was working here.
Yep.
I had a customer that decided that it would be a good idea to take out his air filter from his air filter box and shove in a beach towel. And this was also on a 5-liter Mustang.
Oh. Oh, mercy sakes.
It sucked that beach towel all the way into the motor.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
But that's like one of the craziest things I've ever seen doing this thing.
Well, I hate to tell you, the whole year's doing this, I've got some pretty wild and crazy stories
I
too.
know.
So the first one, kind of the same scenario that pops in my head, but I got many of it's already popped in my head about what goes on and stuff, what I've seen over the years. But back when I was a tech in Salina, and that's when they had the 5.7 motor GM did. They converted it to a diesel.
Yeah.
Okay? And those things were just, how do I say, just not very reliable from that part. Anyway, the real problem with it was the pump they used to inject the diesel into the motor and stuff like that. We just would mess up and different things and throw the wrong amount of diesel fuel and stuff in it and everything else too. But also with the diesel, when you get into the right situations, I've seen videos out there, the big semis, they call them runaway semis, and they're just going like crazy. Well, anyway, we had one of my guys I was working next to came in, had one of those diesel cars, pulled it in there, and basically the pump that had gotten bad, it just threw a whole bunch of fuel into the system. Well, he put the new pump on it, but he didn't run it to clean the cylinders and everything out. So guess what it did when it fired? It took off.
No.
It took off like the runaway diesels will do. And instead of grabbing something, the air cleaner lid was there. Because they'd have an air cleaner come off to the side and get your air for that. He should have took something like a shop manual, because we used to have shop manuals everywhere back in my day on that deal, and stuck it over the intake hole to shut it down. No, he stuck a fender cover on it, and it just sucked it right into the same kind of deal happened to your Mustang. So, yeah, it did shut it down, all right.
Sure did.
But it was time for a new motor after that happened, too. But that's what we looked back and looked. There was a hole about 4 inches in diameter, I would say, coming off the air, that side of that air cleaner. Then he would have just stuck a shop manual there, your big old fat shop manual, and it shut the air down and it killed it from that part. But no, he ended up having to put a motor in that one, too. Now, the other craziest ones I got, just another thing pops in my head here, is we had a car towed in one time, wouldn't start. And crank, everything else like that wouldn't go. And pulled the air cleaner lid off, jam-packed full of dog food.
No way.
Jam-packed full of dog food. So some animal had taken that food. And so the car had sat there long enough, a couple of days at least, but he brought enough food in there and jammed that whole air cleaner full of food where it wouldn't get no air to start it.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So that's another good story, but I got some more too.
If we could legitimately have a show for 2.5 hours talking about these stories, and I think that's the most fun part about the job, but there's some pretty good ones, but yeah, that's just me.
Yeah. So, I'll tell you, back in Halstead working with my dad, and this is when he was at First in Maine, and there was another shop just like a block down the wheel, and we kind of helped each other, shared if they everything with that, and he had fought this car forever, and finally had put every part he could imagine on it, and we'd see him leave the shop and come by our shop, and the car would get right in front of our shop, and it would just quit, and the black smoke just pouring out of this car.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept working on it. He finally threw his hands up at it, pushed it down to my dad's shop, and we started looking at it and everything else like that. As soon as you'd shut the hood and drive it, it would do this. When you put it in the shop, raise the hood, it'd run just perfectly fine. You know what I'm going after yet?
He's cutting off air.
Yeah, so basically what's happening, he wasn't putting the air cleaner back on the car, and when you take off and accelerate, the hood insulation would suck down into the carburetor and shut it off. And when you look at the hood, you can see a perfect imprint up in the hood of the carburetor, jammed all that. You can just see the perfect imprint.
Oh,
But yeah,
that's
he
awesome.
wait. So yeah, talk about feeling like a you know what. But it's crazy. You don't, sometimes I was going to go on a quick test drive. I don't want you to put the air clear. I'm going to go slam the hood down, take off. I mean, he'd make it a half a block. Yeah, it just suck that insulation right down inside
That's
there.
great.
And off we went. So another good story. Hey, if you guys have any stories like that out there happened to you or a friend or whatever, let's hear about it. 316-462-3673. Love to hear from you. Again, what's some crazy stuff you've seen happen? We can share with everybody else kind of those same kind of stories.
Oh man, there's so many countless stories that with this doing this for as long as I've not done it as long as you have. You're ancient at this point.
Okay.
Hey, just throwing that out there. Glasses make you look good. Anyway,
Yeah. Well, he's full of it today.
But no, I think I've been doing this now for almost 16 years, 17 years,
16,
I think.
17, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
something like that. I've been here for almost 12. I've
I
almost
know.
been here for 12
Isn't
years.
that crazy?
It's nuts. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
But no, every once in a while you'll see the good ones, the ones that come in, hear rattle noise coming from the left front, and you go up there, you lift that thing up, and the left front wheel is just about ready to fall off. It's just stuff like that. It's like, yeah, you got a little bit of a rattle noise.
Yeah, and
sure.
again, when you hear different noises and stuff, you just don't keep driving today. Or the other thing is that when these lights come on, that's the car talking to you, telling you, "Hey, I got a problem. I need some help." Years ago, when we go somewhere, I remember getting in the car with my dad. We'd have a toolbox back there, have a spare tire, we'd have jumper cables, we'd have oil, we'd have antifreeze, we'd have complete tool kit, everything else like that. So we broke down the side of the road, we could fix it and keep going. Today we go 5,000 miles, don't even worry about it.
Yeah. They used to make cars with like a storage area that had 3 different cans, so you can put oil, gasoline, and coolant in them, just so you have that available because they're gonna leak. They're gonna do it.
Yeah, some shape or another. So it's crazy how things have times have changed and all that kind of stuff. But hey, anybody in the chat line, you got anything crazy that happened to you or a friend or whatever? Some of those kind of stories Scott and I threw out there. Just got a few minutes left on the show. Love to hear from you. Or if you want to call in and tell us your funny story, love to hear that too. So
Delbert actually kind of reminds me of one. He had himself an accident and he said airbags are a lifesaver. Yes, they are. Yep. Have you ever had an airbag go off whenever it was not supposed to?
Yeah, I personally not had that happen.
Not me, but have you seen one?
Yeah. I had a deal and I didn't believe it either. This was when I was in Hutch and a guy rolled in on a Chevrolet truck. And he said, I was just driving and the airbags popped. And we said, nah, it can't be. There's no way. No, because how much that system has to have 2 sensors and what it takes to blow the bag. We thought maybe he got stuck and towed it and yanked it, did something or whatever. But I will tell you what we did find is we dug into that thing and they had the actual airbag modules under the driver's seats where they put it. And it had got enough water and condensation in that seat, got into the module and shorted that module out.
Oh, no.
And it did fire. But think about that, just driving down the road normal. Woo! Here come the bags at you. And knock on wood, I got to find some wood. I've never been in a wreck that airbags went off on me.
Yeah.
That part. Seen a lot of accidents and things like that from that part. And, today's cars are built for those airbags. Years ago, they were just put in, we called them face bags because that's what they did to put them on the steering wheel. And what manufacturers have learned is every car has a different, what we call the crumple zones, and how fast the car will crumple determines how fast you got to have an airbag come out. So today, if an airbag comes off, I'm promising you've saved yourself a lot of hurt and not getting injured from that part. That's why Delbert, he said he's a little bit sore. That's about it. I saw in the pictures, I did see the driver's side airbag had come down. So I'm sure the other bags inside the car have went off too. But if you didn't have those airbags, I bet Delbert would have been hurt.
Probably.
From that part.
And if you're ever driving around a vehicle that has the airbag light on,
yeah.
What's that mean? That means they're not going to deploy in the event of an accident.
Yep.
That's serious. You need to get it looked at and try to get it fixed. That could be a lifesaver.
It's the same difference with the ABS light on.
Same.
If you're in a panic situation, your brakes are going to work just normal, just fine. But if you need analog brakes or you need to be able to stop quickly or fast or whatever, the brakes aren't going to work. And I remember when analog brakes come out, I think it was 85 when they first started coming out. And Scotty, the master cylinders, about this big.
Oh, yeah, they're huge.
Now on those cars in 85, there are modules and things attached to, just mammoth around there, but now they're not that way. But we went and did tests with them. And what was the biggest thing to me is I really didn't think that it would cut down the stopping distance as much as it kept you under control from not sliding, skidding, or doing whatever. But it does having those analog brakes on there decreases your stopping distance. So split seconds is all it does to save from happening accidents, but it does almost in half cut the distance down of what that car is going to stop.
Oh, 100% of the time.
And the technology they've come up with, these airbags with the ABS sensors and all that stuff working together. It's like traction control is the same way. It works off the same ABS stuff. But the technology we have today is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be, when you on an ABS system back in the days, in the 80s, you'd hit the brake and you feel the pedal go. You don't even feel that anymore because it was pulsing the pedal. Then that's what you do is you pulse the pedal so it doesn't lock up. And now they've got it to where you don't even feel it's just normal braking and everything else too. And again, I think we put so much technology in these cars. We drive very, very we're guaranteeing they're going to stop us, break us, do whatever we got to do.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got very lax at how we drive.
Yeah, that's true. That's 100% true. But it's definitely something that you just said that like my wife, she did not want to get a new vehicle whenever the time came that we needed to.
Yeah.
And I kept on pushing her newer and newer and newer. And she kept, why do you want me to get this new vehicle? Because you're safer. Every single year that vehicle is newer, you are safer on the road. There are so many safety precautions that they put into these vehicles now. And it's absolutely amazing. I want you in the absolute safest possible car that you could be.
I agree with you.
That's it. So.
Yep, agree with you 100%. So anyway, hey, we're running out of time, everybody. We've got the race open house coming up next Saturday, 9 to 4. Don't want to miss it. Jordan White, he'll be cooking for us. Roy and Entertainment will be on the service drive with the remote control cars. Monzo will be here with his car. We're going to try to challenge him to a burnout in front of the store. Don't know if he's going to do it or not. He's at least got to fire that car up.
100%. He's at least got to start it up.
For that part. So don't want to miss it. Racers, all kinds of vendors coming. Don't want to miss all the stuff there with the race open house discounts. The vendors are going to be here. More vendors we've ever had. New vendors that are coming. A lot of racetracks are coming too. They have their schedules and questions about their racetracks and their schedules and stuff. So it's going to be fun and exciting too. I had a caller coming in that says unknown. So imagine what I just did with that one. Yeah, so don't want to miss it. Anyway, let's thank our sponsors real quick, which is Big Corner Creative for all your advertising needs, anything you need for your company, advertise, or if you need a web page design, vehicle wrap, complete wrap, race car wraps, window tint, whatever it might be to help advertise the business. Give Jesse and those guys a call down at Big Corner Creative. And as they say, just Google us. BG Products, all the great preventative maintenance products we use right inside here at Hambelton Ford to keep your car running many, many more miles. And also Go to Rent. Hey, Stan's got a great fleet of vehicles over there at Go to Rent. If you don't need put some miles on your car, need something bigger, need a 12 or 15 passenger van, spring break's right around the corner, and we just got a bunch of new vans in over there for Stan, so very cool on that part too. Finally getting some inventory for him, which is great. So if you need a rental car, give Stan a call right inside here at Go to Rent. Scotty, thanks for hanging out with me for this hour. It was fun, exciting as always. Everybody, hope you got some good information out of it, and we'll see you next Saturday live here at the Big Corner and race open house.
Yes, sir.
Have a good Saturday, Scotty. Everybody, have a great day. We'll talk to everybody soon.
See ya.